This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Welcome to Community Close-Up. I'm your host, Sharen Skelly, and our guest today is Matt Bittel, and he is the principal of Timothy Christian School here in Owen Sound. Welcome.
Thanks, Sharon. It's nice to be with you again.
You've had a busy year. I know you've been really busy this last few weeks. Now, we've had you on the last couple of years. Of course, COVID was an issue then. It still is an issue, but not quite as severe as it was at the end of the school year last year and the year before. How has COVID affected the school year this past year?
Well, I mean, this year has, like as you've mentioned, this year has been much better. We had a few weeks where we were out. We had a few classes out in December, and then we had a couple of weeks extended Christmas break, and then other than that, things have been much more normal. The last couple of years, we haven't been in school for the last term, so there was one time in I think it was March or April where it was hard to. We had so many people testing positive that it was hard to staff the school, and I was really going to the bottom and scraping and trying to figure out who I can have to look after classes. I spent one morning in grade one, and that was a challenge just because I'm just not used to grade one.
Yeah, they can be a little feisty if you're not used to that. So most of the year your classes were actually in person? The children were in school?
Yes. So like I said, we had a few classes out in December because we had a positive case and we had a bunch of people out, but then we had an extended Christmas break, if I remember, and then we've been in school since. And then when we came back from March break, things really opened up. We didn't have to wear masks anymore, and we didn't have to worry about cohorting as much, and we were able to really do a lot of things. And even like one of the things you don't even realize you miss, we didn't have parents in our building. Oh. And once March break was over, we were allowed to have parents in the building again to volunteer to help. And we were still cautious and we were still careful, but it was just nice to be able to do that.
Yes, because parent volunteers really do help with the programming, and I guess you don't realize how much help they really are until you can't have them in the building.
Yeah, and I think that's true with everything, right? You don't really notice what you're missing until you actually have to miss it. Who would have ever thought we would have spent, the last 2 years in virtual learning as much as we did? And it really made us appreciate what we have when we have the students in the school. So,
that's right.
There's definitely some positives to take through this. We as a school, we've realized, and I don't know why this didn't clue into us before, but the outside is just such a great place to be. And we bring our classes outside a whole lot more than we used to. And it's been great. The kids love it. Mm-hmm. And they can learn outside just as well as they can in the classroom. So there's certainly some things that we've definitely been able to take from these past 2 years and say, you know what, this will make us better, this will make us stronger. So,
right. But it is nice now to be able to get back into the classroom, seeing each other face to face, seeing people face to face, and doing those things like I follow you on Facebook, and you had your play, and you went on your trip. And you did things that were normal, whatever normal is. But normal is doing these things, and children need those rich experiences. And I really, I was talking to someone just recently, and you feel really sorry for the children that didn't get to experience those things that that other students have, and you can't get that back, but it would have been a risk. And we didn't want them to get ill.
Yeah, I mean, over these past couple of years, no matter what age level you were in as a child, your schooling has been affected. Mm-hmm. And you're right. It's times you can't get them back, but we certainly have learned to appreciate things more
Mhm.
And
You know, one thing I do give you credit for, you really went above and beyond to give those children experiences, regardless of, you know, whether they could have a regular graduation dinner or whatever. You really did try. You went above and beyond. I was really, I would tell my friends, you know, you wouldn't believe what they did for your school, your teachers, your faculty really did do amazing things for your students. I mean, you got to give you did. And it really showed. They appreciated it, and the parents, I'm sure, appreciated it. I was impressed, and I tell my friends. And yeah, you did. It just showed how much you cared for the students.
well, thank you. It was a team effort, a lot of people chipping in, and just, you know, the amount of meetings we've had over the past 2 years to try to figure things out. It's just more than we've ever had before. But
Well,
you got a lot of people together working at, you can come up with solutions. So
yes,
fortunate the last couple of years to be able to do a bunch of the things that we normally would have done. But these past couple months, being able to, like you mentioned, the musical, to be able to do a musical again, that's a big part of who we are. And our grade 7 and 8s look forward to being in the musical. They look forward to the main parts. And the last couple of years, we haven't had that. So that's been a kind of a gap in their education here.
Mhm.
But they were so excited this year. And when it was musical week is always a very exciting time at our school. And it was great to have to be able to perform, to show what hard work does, and to be able to have everybody in the building. The only thing we did different was we obviously we're hoping that people follow the guidelines. If you're sick, don't come, right? And that's, you know, we think of that as common sense, and we just hope that people are following that, and they were. We added one more show, but I don't honestly know if that show was added because we wanted a distance, or we just have more people than we had 2 years ago. So we weren't sure how that was going to work, and everything worked out fine.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell the viewers what your musical was and how it went? Give us a bit of detail.
Sure. It was the way they do these musicals. They take a key Bible story, and then they kind of have a little fun with it. So this one was about Jonah and the whale, but it was called Jonas Druthers instead of Jonas Brothers. So they take something kind of like that, and they put it together. And basically, Jonah or Jonas was asked to go and preach somewhere, just like in the Bible story. Mm-hmm. But he got, one of the funny lines was, he got stuck in a well, not a whale. So and they showed that, and so it was just his journey of following God's direction, following His plan, and how God is there with you to help you. If that kind of sums it up in a little bit. And every student in our school is involved, and we have over 130 now, so we're growing quite a bit over the past few years. From kindergartens opening up and introducing, and you can't go wrong with that. You stick 15 kindergartens up on the stage, and no matter what they do, it's great. And they welcome everybody, and then the grade 1 to 6 for the most part are the choir, and then the 7s and 8s are doing the and sometimes 6s when we have to go down a little bit lower. They're doing the parts, the sound, the lights, all of that. So it's really quite something. And if people haven't seen it before, keep your eyes out. Probably Christmas next year is when we'll be doing our next one.
Great. And anyone can attend.
Yes, anyone can attend. No charge or anything.
No charge.
No charge. No. We did, like, there'll be times where, and there's no pressure. We will take an offering just for the fact of people ask us, you've blessed us, we want to bless you back. But by no means is it done as that. There's no pressure. We don't pass anything around. We have a hat by the door when you go out, and people can drop a donation if they want, but they don't have to.
Yeah, I think donation is great because, the children work hard. It could pay for some of the supplies they
That's what
for costuming, or it costs money to put on a production. I know my kids are in drama, or they're grown now, but they always were. And it costs money, for the lighting and making the sets and that. And just, refreshments after, because the children like to have a little refreshment after. And it sounds exciting. And I'm really happy you got to do that because, and the children really learn a lot from putting on a production, and it sometimes piques their interest. They might want to go on and do this later on in high school. and do a bit of theater or whatever, or maybe they like making sets and might want to be carpenters or whatever, do lighting and
Right. You never know
electricians.
where this is going to open and what.
They learn a lot doing that. They learn math, they learn literature and all kinds of things. So that's great. So you also went on a trip. The grade 8s, I think, went on a trip.
Yeah.
And you went with them.
Oh, yeah. I think my days of overnight trips are close to being done, Sharon. I don't know. So the way it usually goes at Timothy Christian is our 7s and 8s are together, and we have 20 of them this year. And we've 1 year we go to Ottawa, and the next year we go to a camp, usually more local, and then we'll go to Canada's Wonderland for the day. But we've had to postpone all of these things for the last couple of years, and we've kind of gotten off of our sequence. And if you go to Ottawa, you really have to start planning it in the fall. We had no idea what was going to happen with things opening and so on. So we decided right from the beginning of the year we were not going to do Ottawa, and we wanted to look for another alternative. And a parent had come and said, my child went to it was called Beacon Bible Camp up in the Muskokas, and they really enjoyed it. So we actually connected with them, and then we started planning. We said, we could do this, and especially as things started to open up, and we didn't have to worry about cohorting. So we've been planning that for the last few months, and basically it was, I think, last week, Monday morning, at about 9:15, we loaded the bus with 20 grade 7 and 8s, and 2 teachers and one parent volunteer, and we went up to the Muskokas. And
I saw pictures of that.
Yeah, we had a great time. We tried to update the pictures as much as possible. Now, we did get a lot of rain. Basically, we got there Monday, and it started raining when we got there, and it pretty much rained all day Monday, except for a couple-hour window in the afternoon where we were able to go down to the beach and do some canoeing and stuff. And then Tuesday, it rained most of the day as well. We had a couple hours in the afternoon, but fortunately, we were there till Thursday. Wednesday was beautiful the whole day, and we were able to go for a long hike. We were able to go for a long canoe trip. I say a trip. We were gone for about an hour and a half. But we had 11 canoes in a row, all paddling down the water or the river, and we had a great time with that. And then they were able to go out in the water. Now, I didn't go swimming; it was way too cold for me, the water. But the kids don't feel it as much as we do.
They don't care.
They did swimming, and they in the one area where the lifeguard is, they can go out in the canoes and they can actually they can splash each other, those kind of things. They have fun with that. They had paddle boats, paddle boards. So yeah, if you follow our Facebook page, you would see a bunch of those pictures, and they had a great time. And the one nice thing about being at a camp when it's raining is you've got lots of indoor activities to do.
That's right.
They had I think it's like their chapel where we were able to kind of go in there throughout the day. It was called the Lighthouse, and they also had a gym, so they would play games in the gym. Lots of card games. Kids learned how to play. Some didn't know how to play Dutch Blitz. They loved playing that, and Uno, stuff and they just had a great time spending time with each other, having fun, laughing, trying to win the game, and it get real loud, it get real quiet. But they did a real good job of adapting. And when we could, we got outside, and when we couldn't, we stayed inside. And so
it
was a good trip. Tried to get some sleep, I've been on a bunch of these, and I know that if you have a 14-year-old and they don't get enough sleep, they're pretty cranky the next day, or certainly the day after. So we had lights out at 10 or 10:30, just like it'd probably be at normal. Yeah. And for the most part, that was done. I guess we found out in the grade 8 boys, there was one boy that he was quite the snorer, so that really drove everybody crazy. So you do find out some things about people when you go away on an overnight trip.
Now, it would be black fly season, wasn't it? Were there any black flies, or were the mosquitoes out yet?
So there were no black flies. We didn't see any, but we did see a bunch of mosquitoes.
And it was raining, so.
Yeah, there was definitely mosquitoes. I joked with the kids. I said, "Oh my goodness, I've already killed 3 mosquitoes," and they were like, 3? We've seen like about 1,000. So.
Yeah. I thought of that when I saw you were at a camp. I thought, flies, but that's all part of camping. But I'm glad you had fun. Now that the camp there would be a kitchen, and they would have a dining hall, right?
Yeah. So when it was mealtime, they rang the bell and we came and we ate. So it was really nice. We didn't have to worry about preparing food or anything. That was all part of the package.
Wow.
Now, what we were able to do, I've done these a few times before with classes, is we tried to give them back a little bit of service. So I told them, if there's something that our group of 20 can do for an hour or so, like to help bless your camp, we will be glad to do it. So it worked out nicely for them. They put wood chips on their path, so we were able to spread wood chips for a while, and they would dump them. And you know what, the students enjoyed helping too. And as long as we can do it together, we can have fun no matter what we're doing, right? So
yeah. Now, you were the only students there, or was there another school? No,
we were the only students there. Again, when we planned that at the beginning, because we again didn't know when we started setting this up in January and February. We didn't know about cohorting or anything, so it worked out really nice that we were the only group there.
Nice, really good. So I know you do fundraising throughout the year. Well, I guess we'll go back to your school is not publicly funded, or do you get any funding?
No, we don't get any funding at all.
Which is sad, but anyhow, so you have to raise all the money for your students through either tuition or fundraising.
Yeah, there's about four components. So fundraising, tuition being the highest, of course, percentage of where we get our money. But also we do get a lot of rental income in our building, so that's good. And then we have some donations as well.
You do get rental. That's right. You bought the school?
Yeah, the school, we own the school. And if you came here about maybe 10 years ago, there would have been a lot of different community places. So we had Owen Sound Minor Soccer was renting a room. We had a few different advertisers and different people were renting. And they were getting bigger. A lot of them moved out to bigger spots. But we have Queen of Hearts Nursery School here now. So that's a really good partnership. And they have about probably 70 or 80 students here a day. And they run an after-school program, all that, all part of our building. And then we have a couple other renters. We have a karate dojo upstairs, which their traffic would be at night, and then a financial planner's up there. So
great. Okay. Well, that
does bring in some income, and a church meets here on the weekend as well. So
okay, I didn't even realize that. So there you go. So you have to do fundraising. So I know you had an online auction not that long ago. I saw that. But you also mentioned that now this sort of petered out through COVID, but some of the parents did catering.
Yeah, so
do they still do it?
They do it. It hasn't been as much over the last couple of years, but there has been some dinners that they've done. I think they've done crisis pregnancy, those kind of things over the past few years. It's definitely gone down a little bit, but I would think that now as things are opening up and we're getting into more traditional seasons, that will pick up. And you mentioned the auction. The auction is one of our biggest fundraisers, and the last couple of years we haven't been able to have it. So 2 years ago we didn't have it at all. Last year we had only the online component, and this year we actually found what probably is the perfect blend. It was an online and a live auction, and it worked really well.
Yeah,
it was one of the largest auctions we've ever had. Over $30,000 was raised.
Wow, that was good.
And it was really nice to have, the community back together. It was a time.
Definitely. I really like the catering idea. I think it's wonderful. And I think when they get back and running, I think knowing that it's supporting the school, I know people would support it. I had never heard of it before, but if I needed a caterer, I would call them.
Well, that would be great.
Yeah, I would tell my friends, look, if you're looking for a caterer, call these parents, so I think that it's a great idea. And I would call them first, knowing it's supporting a school. So yeah, and I would tell all my friends, call these ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if there's any men on the team, but I definitely would support them, and I would tell all my friends too. So I think it's a great idea. I had never heard of it, and I thought, wow, what a wonderful idea to raise money. And I mean, who wouldn't want? I mean, it's perfect. I'd never heard of catering for a fundraiser, and I don't know why more people don't do it. as a fundraiser, but it's a lot of work, an awful lot of work. So tell me about your student body. Where do they come from? Are they all Owen Sound? Are they Grey Bruce? Or
So we have, I think, about 130 students. Not many of our students I would consider walkers. Like you might have 3 or 4 or 5 students that walk to school, or that could walk to school.
wow.
So we go from Port Elgin to Desborough, trying to think up. We have Annan, Leith, we have Meaford, we have up towards Wyerton. So we're definitely from that whole area. Yeah.
So how is transportation arranged then? Because, they can't take the bus.
Yeah, so years ago, we had a few school buses around. I've been here for 14 years now. My first couple of years, there was 2 school buses, but it ended up, it was just way too expensive to run. Mm-hmm. About a quarter of the student population was riding the buses, and it was just costing $20s of thousands of dollars. It was just way too much. So they had a big meeting, and they decided to eliminate busing. And it's actually worked quite well. We have parents that drive in. We have families that do carpool. And yeah, sometimes it's a pain, in your work day. But I've had more parents say to me, the time driving home or driving to school is some of the best conversation I have with my child. And I really am going to miss that. Different students that I've graduated through, and their parents like, that was a really nice 20 minutes that we had 2 times a day where we could kind of talk before we got home so there's advantages. And we also get to see most of the parents just about every day. So if there's an issue, if somebody's falling behind or somebody's not handing something in, or there's any kind of questions or communication issues, we can deal with that right away. So that's some of the advantages. I don't think it's cost us students over the past few years, but I don't know.
No, my son went to St. Mary's, and he had friends that went to St. Mary's, and I lived in Sauble Beach for 2 years, and then I moved on Sound. But during that time, he could have taken the bus. He didn't really like doing that. And he had stuff he had to do at school anyway. And I had friends that had kids that went there. And oftentimes I'd take them in and someone else would bring them home because their kid was coming home. And like you say, the time driving in, we talked and, you got a lot of communication done in the car. And if he was on the bus, we wouldn't have had that time because that's the time that they want to talk. So yeah, I would have missed that. The bus isn't always what they want to do anyhow. So that's great. So how do you, if I wanted to send my child to Timothy Christian School, how would I do that? What would I do?
Well, we'd encourage you to call the school and go on the school website. We are working on updating our website. We realize that that's a key piece. Like people look on the internet and they look to a website. So our website's good, but we're making it better. And what we would encourage people to do is come in and sit down and talk to me. I'll show you around the school. I love showing the school around. And we could talk depending on the time of year. Like if you had called me a couple months ago, we would have your child visit for a day. Like we can always try to work that out. It gets a little tough as it gets to the end of June here. But we like to do it that way. Come in and try us. And usually if we can get them in the door and get them to look, then they'll strongly consider us.
Right. And then there's just paperwork and
they'll be given a nice big packet of papers when they say they're ready to enroll. And then you fill those in and then we have everything on file. Each year, it's kind of like we do a little bit each year, but the main part is when you first come in. And we just need some contact information and so on.
You have kindergarten is what, all day?
So this is how it's going to be next year. We're going back to the option of 5-day kindergarten. We had to switch things up with COVID and class limits and so on. So next year, our junior kindergartens will be here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Our senior kindergartens will be here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in different classrooms with different teachers. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays for the families that need 5-day, and it's usually about half, we will have another teacher in who will have those combined. So for example, if there was 25 in each class, you're probably going to get 25 that will be here on the Tuesday and Thursday. So we have the 5-day option and we have the 3-day. If you choose 3-day, your child's not going to fall behind. And if you choose 5-day, your child's getting just a little bit of extra work and so on on those other 2 days.
Right. And you go up to grade 8.
Yes.
And then there's no like Timothy Christian School for high school.
No, there's no.
No.
Most of our grade 8s if you asked me 20 years ago, well, I wasn't here, but most of them went to West Hill. That was where they went. Now most of them seem to go to St. Mary's. St. Mary's wants our students. They come and they have them visit a few times, and they do like to have the TCS students. So most of them go there, not all of them. I was able to, last week, because of normally at the end of January, our grade 8s go and visit St. Mary's. They keep them for the day. They let them go to classes and try things. It's sort of on their transition day, so nobody else is in the building. But due to COVID, we couldn't do that. So they went up about 2 weeks ago, and I was able, as I'm walking the hallways, I was able to find 20 to 25 graduates, and I got selfies. I don't know if you saw them on Facebook, but I got different selfies with our graduates, and that was
I did.
fun.
I saw that.
Yeah,
that was really nice.
It's nice to see them, Yeah. And they come up to me in the hallway. It's fun. I like to see them. So.
Yeah, that was really nice. Some of them are very tall.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Maybe we were standing on different steps. Let's just think of it that way.
I don't know about that. So there's tuition, and you pay tuition for the student. Like the students pay tuition. So if you have 2 students in a family, you pay for each student.
No, it's a family rate.
A family rate.
Whatever the tuition is, and you could call the school. We'll give you that information, but you would pay the same whether you have 1 or 3 or 4 children.
Okay. And you could talk to the office and arrange all that. Well, that's great to know. So the last day of school at Timothy Christian is?
Next Thursday, and then we have our graduation Thursday night.
And it's going to be at the school?
No, it could be at Chesley Lake again. We went there last year.
Yes.
But the nice thing is last year, the graduates could have 2 parents, and that was all they could have. They couldn't even bring their siblings. But this year they can bring whoever they want. We have a dinner first, and then we have a graduation ceremony. So
and it was beautiful. It was so lovely last year.
Yeah,
so it's
last year worked out really well. Although I don't know if you could tell from the pictures, it was cold. It was windy that night, but it was a beautiful place to have graduation.
Yeah,
so,
you did a really wonderful job last year, and it was lovely at Chesley Lake. Well, I'm really happy that you could join us again this year and tell us all about Timothy Christian School, what happened during the year, and the graduation and how the students are doing. And I'm going to have you on again next year, and you can tell us how the year went, and you didn't have to do any online learning.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
And you went outside because you wanted to. So thanks for joining us here on Community Close-Up, and hopefully you have more students next year. Join us again here on Rogers TV. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and wear a mask if they ask you to. Join us here on Rogers TV. I'm Sharen Skelly. Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Hi, I'm Thomas Shade, a right wing with the Owens Attack. Go behind the scenes with your favorite team on Attack Rap every Tuesday on Rogers TV.
Looking for the best way to get the Major League Baseball games you want to watch? Rogers Super Sports Pack has you covered. With MLB Extra Innings, you'll have a premium ticket to